Welcome to the Protagonist Pub. My name is Tammy, and this is where characters gather. Well, it's time for the second quarter book haul and unhaul. And I'm going to put timestamps in this one. I am not separating into genre. I am separating into source. So, you may have to go through stuff you don't want to go through, but it's the easiest way for me to do it, so. And I am kind of shocked the number of books I actually purchased in the second quarter, and honestly, some of them my husband purchased. So I don't feel so bad. And there were more than I thought. So let's talk about them. First up are going to be the books I won from Goodreads, and none of these are digital. I do have digital wins from Goodreads. Can I easily access them? No. Do I want to sit down and try to figure all that out? No, not really. So I'm just going to go with the physical ones that landed on my shelves from Goodreads in the second quarter. So the first one is The Lost Boy of Santa Cione by Juliet Grahams. This is the cover. And this is, I believe, a mystery. Yes. It's a historical mystery at that. And it is set in southern Italy in 1960. I don't know anything about this author. I don't know a lot about this book, but it's mystery. It's historical. I am likely to enjoy it. So, I don't know when it's going to get read. However, hopefully, I like it when it comes up. It's just under 400 pages. Time will tell. And the next one goes on sale the 13th of August. That is Till Death Do Us Part by Lori Elizabeth Flynn, another new to me author. And I believe this is another mystery. On the back it says, "What happens when the husband you thought died years ago shows up alive?" That is a very good tagline. 10 years ago, June's beloved husband Josh drowned on their honeymoon. His body was never found. Now, a decade later, June is finally ready to move on. She owns a natural wine bar in Brooklyn, is engaged to a patient, supportive man named Kyle. She's excited to begin a new chapter in her life, enjoying a picture-perfect wedding and start a family. But out of the blue, she sees him. Josh, her first husband. Is it just a hallucination from the guilt June carries about finally moving on? Or is it possible that her husband never died in the first place? June tries to forget about this vision, chalking it up to grief and nerves. But soon enough, she stumbles across a website for a winery in Napa, and the owner in the photo is identical to her dead husband. With her upcoming wedding looming and a fiancé who's already worried she hasn't quite left her past behind, June secretly flies to Napa for answers and closure. But she's not prepared for all the secrets she's about to unlock, because everything she thought she knew about her first love is a lie. Oh, I'm interested. It is just over 300 pages, and, okay. I might mood read that for my birthday next month. It sounds like it's a book up my alley. It really, really does. All right, so next up, we're going to do my library finds. And I didn't have as many library finds as I thought I did in the second quarter, or it could be that some of them are hiding on my shelves and I just couldn't find them this morning when I was gathering books. But be that as it may, let's talk about them. First library first library book I found was the first book in the Quantico File series. Is that it? Yep, Quantico File series, and that is Nightfall by Nancy Mayle. I love her writing. I love her romantic suspense. I have heard nothing but rave reviews about this series. And, as usual, it's in perfect condition. So I am on the lookout for the other books to land in the library bookshop. If they do, I will snag them. And I am looking forward to that one. I found the last novel in the, what is this series called? Chronicles of the Kings by Lynn Austen. That is Among the Gods. And this rounds out the entire series. I now own all 5 books. This will be my first Lynn Austen series, my first Lynn Austen book. The first one in the series is Gods and Kings. I am very much looking forward to it. I am glad that I have the complete series sitting on my shelf. So, that I am very much looking forward to. Next up would be A Screaming Bird. Would be The Romanov Bride by Robert Alexander. I love this cover. I'm currently reading Ice One, and it involves, Romanov. So I will read you the opening paragraph of the flap. As the Russia of Nicholas and Alexandra rushes full speed towards catastrophe, the Romanov Bride follows the lives of 2 revolutionary souls. That of Grand Duchess Elisaveta, or Elia, sister of the Tsarista Alexandra, and that of Pavel, a simple village man yearning for more. Fascinating period of history. I am very much looking forward to this book. It is not super long. It is just exactly 301 pages. So it's not a deep, take forever to read book. And next one is A Choir of Lies by Alexandra Rowland. I love this cover. And just realized this fits with, it's got a metallic cover, so it fits for the Olympics readathon. And I think this one sounds fascinating. It's 452 pages. So I don't know that I can get this read during the Olympics readathon. We will see. I'm interested, though. I will read you the inside flap. 3 years ago, Ifling watched his master chant tear a nation apart with nothing but the words on his tongue. Now he's all alone somewhere new, broken-hearted and grieving, but a chant in his own right. He finds employment as a translator to the Serre de Weyer, a wealthy merchant of luxury goods, while he struggles to come to terms with what his master did, with the audiences he's been alienated from, and with the stories he can no longer trust himself to tell. That is, until Yifling's employer finds out what he is, what he does, and what he knows. At Serre's command, he begins telling stories once more, fanning the city into mania for a few shipments of an exotic flower. Prices skyrocket, but when disaster looms, a disaster that only the 2 of them recognize, Yifling has to face what he has done and decide who he wants to be. A man who walks away and lets the city shatter, as his master did, or someone else. A story can be powerful enough to bring a nation to its knees, certainly. But in the right hands, a story can rebuild a broken dam, keep the floodwaters back, and save a life or 10,000 lives. This is obviously fantasy. I have never read this author before. I think it is a beautiful cover. I think the story sounds fascinating. And I got it for $1, so there is no harm in trying this book. Okay, last library find is, I believe, the second in the series. It is. That is The Black Country by Alexander Gresham. I have not yet read the first one. It is on my shelves. That is The Yard. These are very hard to find, and the fact that I found one in hardback at the library bookshop is amazing. This is a murder mystery set in the 19th century. Sign me up, Victorian mystery. I'm here for it. I'm good. I need to read this series. I've wanted to read it for a very long time, so I am looking forward to it. Okay. Next up is going to be the towering stack. Okay, it's not super towering, of books I physically purchased. And I didn't realize I had spent so much on books this year. So let's do those. Okay, so first up is going to be, you've already seen at least one of these. And I own the first 3 digitally as well, which is how I originally read them, and I'm rereading them. Shocking, I know. The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. As you know, I've read this. I've tabbed it. I loved it. I think it's impeccably done. Book 2 is Words of Radiance. I'm reading this one in July. Haven't started it yet. I need to get right on that. And I love these books. I love the end papers. They're different. No. On each side of the book. So I'll show you that this one is a map, which is very handy. And I am going to go put the bird outside. I'll be right back. Okay, Mr. Mouthy has been relocated outside. So, back to the books. And the next Sanderson I ordered was Oathbringer. It is the 3rd book in the Stormlight Archive. And as you know, the 4th book I already own. And it's a Dave 24 and 24 book. So I need to read it. But first, I needed to refresh. So I bought the other ones in hardback because, well, I needed to tab them. And while they read exactly the same on Kindle, I can't tab, I can't go back and reference, so I needed the hardbacks. I also picked up Arcadium Unbound by Sanderson. This is his short story collection as it relates to his works in the Cosmere. And while there is only one book or one novella in here from the Stormlight Archive, there are plenty of other ones. So yes, I highly recommend this. There are other Cosmere novellas. They're just not contained in, one bind up. All right. Next up would be Ross Poldark by Winston Graham. As you know, I've already read this. I bought this for a buddy read, and I'm probably unhauling it, so I'm gonna unhaul it here. I bought it and I'm unhauling it, and I am not reading the rest of the series. There you go. Poldark. Suckdark. The next 3 Dave purchased for me without my even, hinting at him to do so. This is the 4th book in the Expanse series. This is Cibola Burn. There are 4 other books in the series I need to pick up. I own the 9th book already, so I need books 5 through 8. I am loving this series. It is science fiction. It's even better than the Amazon show, which I absolutely loved. And is it going to be for everybody? No. Is it for me? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely for me. And the next one he picked up for me is the only book I was missing from the Seven Sisters series. That is The Missing Sister by Lucinda Riley. Do not ask me why this book is not included in any of the box sets I have discovered for the Seven Sisters series. Books 1 through 6 are. But this book is always left out. It doesn't make any sense. And I am going to continue this series. Hopefully I can read book 3 next month. I am loving this series. I absolutely just adore this series. It's fantastic. And the next book he picked up for me is the conclusion of the Dwarves series by Marcus Heights. That is The Triumph of the Dwarves. This is the 5th book in the series. Books 3 and 4 were 24 and 24 reads for Dave. I am on book 4. So, hopefully, I can get to this one this year. And this is about the same size as the other 2 books. It's 750 pages long, right in line with the rest of the series. It is translated German fantasy, and I think they're fantastic. So, I think I've already talked about this one. But the way it's sitting on my shelves, it tells me I have not. Anyway, it is the first book in the Huntsman series. It is Uncanny Times by Laura Ann Gilman. I won the 2nd book in this series from Goodreads. It is a historical paranormal fantasy. It sounds very interesting to me. It sounds unique. So I bought the first one so I could read the second one. Have I gotten to either one of them yet? No. Will I? Yes. Okay. So, the rest of them are all me. I am probably reading this one this month. I just realized it has some gold metallic, maybe? Yeah, gold metallic on the cover. So this works for the Olympic challenge. That is The Devil and the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. I love The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Like, I loved it. This is another science fiction mystery book. Right up my alley. This one is historical, no doubt. Or, no, this one is historical, so I'll read you the back. Murder on the High Seas. A detective duo. A demon who may or may not exist. It's 1634, and Samuel Pipes, the world's greatest detective, is being transported to Amsterdam to be executed for a crime he may or may not have committed. Traveling with him is his loyal bodyguard, Errant Hayes, who is determined to prove his friend innocent. Among the other guests is Sarah Wessel, a noblewoman with a secret. But no sooner is their ship out to sea than devilry begins to blight the voyage. A strange symbol appears on the sail. A dead leper stalks the decks. livestock dies in the night. And then the passengers hear a terrible voice whispering to them from the darkness, promising 3 unholy miracles, followed by a slaughter. First, an impossible pursuit, second, an impossible theft, and third, an impossible murder. Could a demon be responsible for their misfortunes? With Pips in prison, and only Aaron and Sarah can solve a mystery that stretches back into their past and now threatens to sink the ship, killing everybody on board. As much as I loved his first book, I need to read this one. I need to read it. I need to absorb it. I just need to sit with it. And I am undoubtedly going to read it. It is just under 500 pages. And, yeah. This is right up my alley. So, the next two are I believe there is a fourth book. Is there a fourth book? I'm not sure if there's a fourth book. Are books 2 and 3 in the Gilded Hearts of the Gilded Age series by Crystal Cadell. The second book is Counterfeit Hope, and the third book is Counterfeit Faith. As you know, I loved the first book, which was Counterfeit Love. It is still on my shelf. It is not being unhauled. And these follow the male protagonists in the series, not the females. And they are U.S. Treasury agents or Secret Service. And it is the late 1880s. They're fantastic. The first one was set in Cincinnati. The second one is rural Indiana. And the third one is set... doesn't tell me on the back. In Philadelphia. So they're all over the country. They were fantastic reads. The first one was among one of my favorite books this year. So... And the last physical purchase I have this year, or this quarter, was from Amazon. It arrived very, can you see yeah, it arrived that way. And Amazon wanted to charge me half the price of the book to return it. So, no, that is insane. I do not know how this happened. My guess is the corner got a little bit wet and the ink bled from the cover, which I've never had happen to a book before. And it's just weird. Doesn't affect the text of the book, however, so I'm going to read it. That is To Crown with Liberty by Karen Uelo. I have never read anything by her. This is published by Chrism Press. It is Catholic historical fiction. It is set in New Orleans in 1795. And I'll read you the back of this one too. New Orleans, 1795. In the wake of the French Revolution's reign of terror, Alex de Morneville Carpentier, a former lady-in-waiting to Marie Antoinette, now married to her gardener, seeks peace and security in the Spanish colony of Louisiana. But her journey into the man-eating swamp called Attakapas reopens the wounds of her old life in France. Alex is forced to reckon with the choices that saved her life at the cost of her honor and perhaps her soul. In revolutionary France, the old world is dying. The quest for liberty, fraternity, and equality has become a nightmare where the price of dissent is blood. In the wilderness of Spanish Louisiana, a new civilization is beginning to emerge. But in this budding new world, the slave trade perpetuates the systems of oppression that sparked the revolution. Caught between old and new, scarred by trauma and grief, will Alex ever find a home where she can truly be free? To Crown with Liberty is a historical novel based on the riveting legends from George Washington Cable's Strange True Stories of Louisiana, published in 1818. I very much want to read this book. Again, hopefully in August, I will make it a point. So, that, all those, oh, no, they're not. One more purchase, although technically this is a third quarter purchase, but you're going to see them, so I'm just going to do that here. It is the box set for the complete works of Jane Austen. I wanted a box set that was complete and didn't leave off the unfinished works, and they're very hard to find, and I didn't want to buy them piecemeal. I wanted them all to match. That being said, they're not the prettiest, but I do like them. This is Pride and Prejudice, and I like that there is a publisher note in the beginning, and then there, in every book, there's a brief bio of Jane herself, and they're all different. I do love the fact that my favorite Jane Austens are in my favorite colors. So Pride and Prejudice, and then Emma. And I'm not keeping the box, so. And then Mansfield Park. Sense and Sensibility. Sandition and Other Tales. And it's very small. And then the last two. Persuasion. And then Northanger Abbey. I like them. I will tell you that unlike some box sets I've gotten in the last couple of years, this is a very sturdy box. Like, it could easily be reused for something else. But they take up too much room on bookcases, so no box sets for me. I needed a copy of Jane Austen. I don't usually reread, as you know, but I haven't read her in over 4 decades, and I want to read a couple of Jane Austen related books, so I needed some Jane Austen in my life. Okay, there you go. That is everything I purchased in the second quarter of 2024. So now let's do the unhauls. Okay, unhaul time. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these. The first one is Arcanium Unbound by Sanderson. This is the mass market paperback version. And, yeah, no. It would just end up with a destroyed spine. It would irritate me. I'm not upset that I bought the other one. This one now and yesterday, it kept speaking to me from the library bookshop shelves. I didn't read the back. I should have read the back. It isn't something I'm going to enjoy, so I'm just going to return it to the library. It cost me $1. No harm, no foul. Next up, Summer on Honeysuckle Ridge by Debbie Mason. As you know, I recently DNF'd this one. Despite its very cute cover, the content and the cover are diametrically opposed. Next up, Because I Could Not Stop for Death by Amanda Flower. I enjoyed this one. It's the first book in the Emily Dickinson series. It is a mystery. This one was enjoyable. As you know, I DNF'd the second one in the series in June because, well, it started to buy into the latest academic theory of Dickinson's life, and I'm not interested. Another DNF, The Busybody by Kemper Donovan. Didn't enjoy the writing style. I was bored. Another June DNF. This was a Goodreads win. Maybe somebody else will enjoy it. This was also a Goodreads win. Not How I Pictured It by Robin Leffler. This is labeled as a rom-com. It is not. It is a mystery. It was okay. But it is not a romance. It is not a rom-com. Do not believe it. Next up, another DNF. Noticing a theme here. One Big Happy Family by Jamie Day. My first book by her. My last book by her. This too was a Goodreads win. Another DNF. Nonsense. This one was a surprise for me. A Beautiful Disguise by Rosanna M. White. This was the book club choice for April of this year. And I didn't like it. Didn't like it. But that's okay. Other people loved it. And as you know, just because one reader doesn't like a book doesn't mean everybody's not going to like a book. And the dogs are about to bark because the street cleaner's here. Hang on. Okay. Last couple here. Match Me If You Can by Swati Hedge. DNF this one on page 2 or 3. Because, yeah. Nonsense. That too was a Goodreads win. This too, Goodreads win. This was several years ago. Yeah, maybe I should read this one. No, I'm not going to read it. I didn't enjoy the first in the series. That is The Island by Ben Coase. This is an action thriller. He's a CIA operative. It is very popular. The first one in the series is Power Down, and this is the 9th book in the series. I didn't enjoy the first one. To go read the 7 I am missing before this one, so I'm gonna send it to the library and somebody else will pick it up and enjoy it, and I won't know the difference. And the last one is a duplicate. I picked up a copy at the library bookshop, didn't realize I had a copy at home, and that is A Divided Spy by Charles Cummings. This is this a standalone? No. What number in the series is this? The 3rd book in the Thomas Kell series. He writes excellent, excellent spy fiction. He's an amazing writer. He truly is an amazing writer. So, that is my unhaul for the second quarter of 2024. It is a much shorter unhaul than previous. I am okay with that. So, please leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and I will see you here next time at the Protagonist Pub.